Welcome back to the Clappy and Frank Show, episode 23. We're about a half a year in. The feedback is tremendous. Last week we had on our great friend Mickey. Mickey told us what not to do. But one of the most intriguing, amazing conversations that we're going to be having today is about a topic that's extremely taboo. Nobody wants to talk about the IRS. It's on your mind 24/7. Tax season is upon us. 2025 has to be filed. Deadlines are approaching. We have with us somebody that worked for the IRS, the scary IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. My good friend, Israel Ostrov. It's an honor and pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
There for 17 years.
17 years.
Wow.
Close to 20.
Close to 20.
Israel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me on. Like you said, I've worked close to 20 years at the IRS. I was a revenue agent for 10 years, auditing people, individuals, companies, offshore accounts, special issues. And then I worked 7+ years as an appeals officer, and there I was dealing with the litigation, meaning if you protest or you protest, you have a tax petition, the tax court can't take every case, so it goes on the appeals officer's desk and they try to resolve it.
Before it goes to court.
Yeah, and a good percentage, like 80+%, doesn't go to court.
You said 80% doesn't go to court when somebody appeals the IRS bill. Last week, we had somebody that sat in prison over 12 and a half years, 2 stints in prison, our good friend, our Schmerling friend. So he was saying that when the prosecutors and the government, the U.S. district attorneys come after you, their prosecution rate of success, of getting you, tossed in jail, is over 97% success rate. So it's interesting that when the government does something, they do it with such a strong hand, with the mighty power of the U.S. government, that when you appeal it, 80% of the people just settle and they don't even actually want to go to trial, you're saying?
No, both. The government can't take every single case in front of a judge. And a lot of these cases, you could resolve it relatively easily by just sitting with an appeals officer and resolving the case. What you're saying is something completely different. Now, in terms of prosecuting and civilly going after people for doing something with fraud, if the government's going to go after you, they're going to go after you because you either have money or you're a name, you have a big name, and then their success rate is very high.
What triggers a audit from the IRS?
So these are
Do poor people get audited?
all the time.
Poor people, really?
All the time.
For what?
Well, there's something called earned income credit, child tax credit. This is basically money the government gives you if you have kids, if you have dependents. And a lot of poor people, I say poor like this, or people that are in poverty and make less money, sometimes they go to a tax preparer that's not really a CPA. They're just very good at giving you your earned income credit. So if you get a refund and you make very little money from earned income credit, child tax credit, you can be getting back $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 back. And a lot of times these preparers, they don't know what they're doing, or they don't care, or they're not following the due diligence laws. And so when somebody comes to them, they're going, we can give them an $8,000 refund, earned income credit. They can claim their brothers, they can claim their aunts, they can claim their uncles, and then they get a $8,000 refund. And sometimes they get audited and they have to pay that money back 2-3 years later.
Why weren't they entitled to that $8,000 that the tax preparer thought that they were entitled to? Give me an example, if you don't mind.
The example.
They claim their uncles.
Maybe their uncle and aunt could an uncle and aunt ever be a dependent of yours, or it's never possible?
An uncle and aunt could claim their niece and nephew if they're supplying half of their support. They live by them.
So they just check the box to help their client get the extra $3,000 that they weren't really entitled to. So even a poor person, like wink, wink, poor, could get audited because it doesn't make sense why they're claiming their uncle and aunt that don't even live in the same house.
And also, you have to be making money to get earned income credit, to get tax refunds. I mean, not tax refunds, child tax credit. So a lot of times, they'll go to these preparers. They'll say, okay, you're a barber in your house. You made $30,000. You have zero expenses. And we're going to claim your little sister or niece or nephew. and then they get back a refund when they never made $30,000. They never were a barber. And
So they invent the whole
that's
thing.
very common.
There's a barbershop next door to here in this office.
And typically, what do you do with those kids? You just tell them, give the money back? You go after them, you throw them in jail? Or what's usually the process?
Usually they go after these preparers for not following the due diligence requirements, which is a lot of documentation, a lot of form filing, a lot of record keeping. They go after the preparer themselves. But a lot of times before they go after the preparer, or as they're going after the preparer, they're auditing a lot of their clients.
So if you file this fraudulent return with the tax preparer, then it's not who's liable? The person who's filing to get the money, or the person who's doing the tax preparing?
It's a great question.
It's a very good question.
Because you just mentioned how they usually go after the preparer.
I'm actually curious. Who's in trouble?
So what happens is, imagine this taxpayer. In my opinion, I feel bad for the taxpayer. They're just doing what their friends are telling them to do. They're getting back in a period of 3 years, let's just say anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and that equals, after 3 years, $30,000. So imagine after these 3 years, they got all that money back. They bought a TV. They bought a new car. They have nice clothing. They got the Jordans with all that money. And now the IRS, me as an auditor, is coming after them, and we usually open up all 3 years. Now they have to pay back all that money, interest, and penalties. So
how much is the interest?
The going
I'm not
rate is.
sure. Yeah.
It's not 2-3%. It's higher. It's real money.
I don't remember. I got to be honest. But it's probably around that.
So that's on the personal end. Businesses, what are the red flags for businesses? And are they algorithmic notified, or it's every little tax return that comes into the IRS is reviewed by a human being?
No, the computer picks up on most. So the most perfect thing, I've seen it so many times. You look at the Schedule C. Schedule C is the business portion of someone who's self-employed. It shows gross receipts. It shows the expenses, car and truck, cost of goods sold. And how many times have I looked at it and you see car and truck expense, $20,000. And other deductions, you'll see other deductions, $10,000. So these are round numbers. It's not likely. The computer will pick up on it. And even if the computer doesn't pick up on it, me as the auditor, when I see that return, will pick up on it. It's called an LUQ, large, unique, quantitative thing on the return. What is the likelihood that there's 3 things that equal zeros on the return and high numbers, So a lot of adjustments come from that. And if you're already being audited, let's just say you don't keep good records, you're already being audited, you already have 3 things on the return that equal $10,000, $25,000. Now the auditor is looking at the general ledger, which is the books that go on paper.
P&L
as well.
Profit
And now on there, we're also finding things that end with 00. That doesn't mean there could be likelihood that some things is legit, but you're seeing a lot of things that equal $10,000. So when you have your own business and you have your own expenses, how many things equal exactly on the dot with taxes?
00 is suspicious.
Yes.
Perfect numbers are suspicious.
Yeah.
So what about social media posts? Someone's flashing Rolls Royce, private jets. Is that something the IRS has their AI, whatever, searches or Google alerts?
Not that I'm aware of. A lot of people on social media like to go in front of a nice car and pretend it's theirs. That's not what they do. But what happens is, if you're getting audited or investigated, they are going to look at your assets and they're going to go, wow, this guy, Moshe Frank, has a Mercedes,
I wish.
but he only makes $60,000, has 5 kids. Maybe you make $90,000, but how does he have a Mercedes? So that's when they look and they may go, you have to show me how you paid for this Mercedes.
I want to say it's very interesting because I know doctors. I know lawyers. I even know a judge. Police officers, there's even a few from Crown Heights police officers. Firefighters, I know less, but there are guys I know that are on FIDNY as medics. You're the only Lubavitch, and you grew up in Crown Heights, Lubavitcher guy that I know ever in my life that worked for the IRS. And I think it's very intriguing because the likelihood of, I know guys that in my class are in the American Army and the Israeli Army, never met another IRS guy. Now you're ex-IRS. But tell me a little bit about your upbringing and how in the world did you end up working for the IRS for so many years?
So before I say that, I was 6 months into the IRS and there was a new hiring group. And I see a guy with a beard. I was a little bit upset because I wanted to be the only Chabad guy at the time. And I became good friends with him. He now lives in Israel. His name is Mendy. So I wasn't the only one. And I have my friend's father also worked for the IRS in a different department. So what was the question?
A little bit of your upbringing and how you landed at the IRS.
So I grew up with 9 siblings, Crown Heights, Montgomery Street. I went to Chabad schools. And after I finished high school, I was like, I got to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, if I go for social work and I don't want to be a therapist, I'm screwed. If I go for something that's very niche, I'm screwed. So I was like, accounting, I can always transfer that. After I went to school for accounting, a few years later, I applied for the IRS. I completely forgot I applied for the IRS. They called me and they go, is this Israel Ostrov? Like, yeah, this is Joy from the IRS. Like, holy crap.
By the way, when this Joy calls people and says, I want to bring some real joy into your life. I'm calling from the IRS. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Her name was Joy?
Joy Dornelis. She actually was my manager for years. A sweet lady. Really a sweet lady.
She did bring him joy.
Sweet lady. And
out of the blue, they call you up years later.
No, it was like could have been 4 months later.
Okay.
I don't remember because I applied for a million
You graduated
jobs.
with a degree in accounting. You applied. You forgot that you even applied, and then you get a call one day. Okay.
Yeah, and like, would you like to come in for an interview? And I was like, yes. And I had the interview, and then I was studying for the Series 6 and 7. I really hated it, but I needed a job. I couldn't. I was working
in Series 6, 7 for what type of job?
That's dealing with insurance, securities,
Banking.
Yeah, I hated it. And then I got a call on the way. I'm walking to the library, and they're like, "You got the job?" And like, do you want it? I'm like, yeah. Coming from where I was at that time, getting the IRS job, the way how I felt is probably like someone winning $1 billion account. I was so happy. I quickly took the Series 6 stuff and 7 stuff, threw it in the garbage.
You don't need it to work for the IRS.
No. And it was very good experience working for the IRS. Very good.
What is just off starting salary in IRS? $60K?
That time, it depends. Depends what series and grade. That time, it was 40-something thousand to start.
Got you.
I remember I was single, and I'm at a singles party, and my friend, some girl asked, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I work for the IRS." And then my friend goes, "He makes $42,000." I was like,
date ended.
Whatever. It was like, what are you doing, man?
She didn't even have a follow-up.
He said it was at an event.
It was at an event.
Yeah, but you get promoted if you work hard and smart. You go up relatively quick compared to other.
You get commission depending on how hard you audit somebody.
No,
commission.
You get bonuses if you catch big fish.
No,
you don't get recognized.
They don't do that because it's illegal. And if somebody offers me a bribe,
I was wondering how you got that Hublot watch. I was assuming one of the people you audited gave it to you as a gift. That's what I was.
He declared it on his return.
It's fake. Got it in the street on 42nd Street.
42nd?
So you get this job. Now, I'm guessing whatever you study in college doesn't prep you for being an IRS auditor.
No.
So they tell you that you're hired for the IRS. They give you your assignment right away, or like what your division's going to be?
They put you on training. You go away for a month, classroom training.
Where's that?
Every time it's somewhere else, but Covington, Kentucky.
Wow. Near Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cross the river.
Is it like the military? They do big background checks? Like
They do a background check on you too. They came knocking on my neighbor's door, asking questions about
Really?
me. Yeah. They came knocking. Yeah. This is
Which-
right block knocked on the door.
Well, you have some great war stories of you visiting businesses, the IRS agent.
One second,
there?
you got to sign. So they hired
Oh,
you
you
to
wanna go
send
back
you
to the
for
story?
a
Okay.
month training to just the general idea of what to teach you how to use an IRS.
They
computer?
start that you learn relatively quick, but month train 1040 Schedule C training. That's simple self-employment.
People that work for themselves, small business owners,
Small business owners
have to do a, what is it called? A 10?
They do a Schedule C usually.
What's a schedule C? It's a
It's on the tax return.
right.
That's self-employment. So imagine you're a barber. You don't get a W-2. You make 38,000.
Right.
You put it on Schedule C, gross receipts, line 1. Then you put your expenses on there as well, the materials, and minus all the expenses
So
equals.
we're talking about a guy that
gross
has a
income.
barber shop in his basement. He didn't file. He didn't open up a corporation. He didn't open up an LLC. He didn't open up an S.
You don't need to open that up.
You don't have to. So
No.
if you're saying a lot of people just they do 3 haircuts a day at $34, they calculate it. They have to tell the IRS how much money they made, what was an expense, and then just have to send in a yearly thing on how much money they made.
Hold on. Speaking of the barber, I don't think it's one.
He doesn't need a barber.
No.
How long you don't need a barber for?
I need a barber for the beard.
Oh,
You
Do
need
you
a
have to
barber.
pay tax on how much it would have costed you to have a barber? IRS still needs to get their cut. Their cut. Their literal cut.
I heard in Israel there was a story because I heard their IRS doesn't have a good name either. But they went into a shawarma store and they were counting all of the cut up parts of the pita bread to see how much they sold, and to confirm it with the amount that they're saying they sold.
But it does have a military tough look. You know, the
It's very
bald
much
head.
stiff. This guy knocked on my door from the IRS. I would run for my life.
Usually, people were very were
When
not
you go
afraid.
to show up to business,
People were what?
People were not afraid of me.
when you show up with guns, like here's
No,
IRS.
that's a special agent.
So you didn't never show up to always with guns drawn. Let me
No,
check your
no,
books.
no.
So you were just knock on the door unannounced.
You send a letter. You send a letter.
You send a letter. Oh, so they know you're coming.
Yeah.
You're not unannounced with guns drawn,
It's like when they get the letter, they hired the shawarma wrapper. They hired the pitas.
and they know when you're coming. It's scheduled.
Usually they get if it's an audit, they get a
Right.
letter. They have to call the revenue agents at a certain time. Maybe if the person doesn't call the revenue agent, maybe they'll try a few more things. Then the revenue agent may go to their house or place of business to knock on their door, saying you didn't respond to our letter. They give them some documentation and
And
call
you
me.
used to do that. You used to show up to people's houses.
Yeah.
Were you afraid?
No.
Never.
I mean, there might have been, if I felt uncomfortable, I wouldn't do it. But usually you just put something in a mailbox if they don't answer.
So you're never afraid to walk into business as IRS agent. You ever thought your safety was
Compromise?
No.
never?
I felt uncomfortable, but never.
I mean, no one's
Safety
like,
was-
oh, the IRS. Oh, we'd love to have you here. Here's
Usually when you
they
go,
offer you some coffee. You probably didn't touch
usually when they're being audited, people are so excited to talk about their business.
it. Interesting.
They're so excited. And I'm asking open-ended questions. Think about it this way. Most people like to talk about themselves, right or wrong.
We do. But
Even if it's the IRS.
wow.
And they're sitting there and you're asking open-ended questions. Most people want to talk about their business. They're excited. You know, a lot of people hire representatives and tell them to shut their mouth. You know,
I think
or
people get in trouble for talking too much to the IRS visitors.
sometimes you don't want to give off too much information in anything, any business. You just want to talk about the facts. You don't want things to get off course. You know,
And if you come to business and they don't want to talk to you, what do you do? What was like the procedures?
usually they talk or they have a
They
representative.
have a
that talk.
lawyer.
Then you can summons bank accounts.
You ever see you come to a place and they just say, "Oh, I'm pleading the fifth. I don't talk to you." Like, well, like you had those responses.
In those situations, everything gets summons. You summons the bank account. It's not a pleasant experience.
Also, they rather talk to you.
Yeah,
Start the conversation.
you'd
And
rather
then you
talk.
find out where they're making issues, and then you bill them. And then if they pay, then
Well, if they're not, you go. A lot of times they summons the bank accounts. They'll create their own bank deposit analysis, which is the revenue agent's going to add up all the gross receipts, negative, take out all the transfers if there is, and then it goes, oh, here you have unreported income. They're not responding, and so they create the IRS will sometimes do that.
So if IRS shows up, you suggest people to talk to the IRS or hire a lawyer and just zip up? What do you recommend?
You speak to a professional before you speak.
If you own a business and someone like you showed up to audit them, would you tell yourself to talk to the IRS?
I heard the question.
Okay.
So not everyone has money to pay for a representative, right? The smartest thing to do would be to call people. I don't know if you go to synagogue, go speak to the main rabbi. I'm being audited. I need some guidance. If you can't pay for a representative, so you don't put your foot in your mouth, and it's a very scary process. You want support going through something like this. If someone were to go through anything scary in life, a divorce, a bankruptcy, you don't want to sit by yourself and figure it out on your own. You want to talk to people. There are plenty of people out there that it would be their pleasure to guide you or help you.
Or call you. They could also call you if they have an audit, right?
Who called me?
You deal with audits?
Yeah.
Currently?
Oh, now, yeah.
Now
call someone like me.
Yeah,
like
now
you.
your business is when somebody gets audited, you walk them through the process. That when the IRS knocks on for the appointment, you're sitting there representing them.
Yes.
Like, oh, John, how's it going? We haven't seen each other. You have those relationships, right? Israel?
I have a lot of relationships at the IRS that I still keep, and a lot of connections there. But yes, I help people that are being audited. I also help people that are going through the appeals process, and I also help people that have a big bill from the IRS and their account is being levied, and it's a very scary thing for a lot of people.
Right? You can negotiate with them?
There's ways of putting in offers to the IRS called offer and compromise, certain installment agreements that could work in the where the taxpayer can pay much less.
How common is it for former IRS people to open their own business? Is it a common or uncommon practice?
Well, let's ask the question this way. How common it is for people to open their own business, period. It's a very small percentage. I know I have a few former one in particular, she has her own tax resolution business, but it's not so common, no.
What's the craziest story you had? Or I'm sure you have a lot of them. You did it for 17 years. What was the craziest story you walked in some business? Can you share some funny stories?
I have so many stories that I don't know where to start.
Tell us a crazy story that you walked around shaking or laughing for days. Like somebody made an expense sheet that made note how you caught them lying or something crazy.
So the way how it works if you have a business and you're getting audited, the revenue agent does something called a tour of business. So they'll walk in the business and they basically want to see when a customer comes to when the customer leaves, how does that transaction enter the books? So I did a bidet.
So you come in as a spy, kind of?
No, they know I'm coming there.
Are you allowed to go to the store without why do they know you're there?
No.
Wouldn't it be better that you walk in on a Monday afternoon pretending you're a customer and see what really goes on? You're not allowed to do that?
I'm not so sure.
But you didn't do that?
No.
It was always scheduled.
Maybe if someone didn't respond to a letter, to me that sounds like a little bit like harassment.
Okay.
No, I never did that.
Okay, so you show up to a bodega.
No, what's her story?
He's saying a story about a bodega.
I said I showed up to a bodega.
Where was it, in Brooklyn?
I don't remember.
Okay.
And I'm like, can I see your books and records? Basically I'm asking the question, how do you know how much money you make at the end of the day? By the way, every business has something that's telling them how much money they're making each day or month or week. And the guy's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I point to the cash register. He's not there. And I go, how do you know that guy is not stealing your money? And he goes, oh. And then he showed me that usually people that have cash registers and bodegas or near gas stations, they write at the end of the day how much money came in cash, how much money came in credit card.
They keep records.
But that's not the funniest story. It's just, that was one of them. I've been through a lot.
Can you tell us some good ones?
I can tell you some sad ones.
I love the sad ones.
Here we go.
The cases I did not like working the most at the IRS was the offshore activity ones. Now imagine someone's grandfather has an account, a liquid account in Israel. It doesn't even have to be Jewish. It can be an account on an account offshore, and they're older already. They don't remember or they don't know. Technically, you're supposed to report all offshore activity.
Just to be clear, if I have an account in the Dominican Republic with $2 million US, I'm supposed to let the IRS occasionally know that I have $2 million sitting in the Dominican every year.
Yeah.
And also let them know what's going on over there. Is it sitting there just collecting interest or not collecting, or if I'm investing in it, they should know what's going on.
They should know that where you're the foreign assets that you
So
have.
an American, all
Is
300.
it tax foreign?
It has to be, I'm not 100% sure, I don't remember fully, but it has to be reported.
Basically, if every one of the 340 million American citizens, when they file their tax returns every year, they have to let the government know, the IRS know how much money they have in foreign accounts.
Correct.
I don't have this problem. I don't have any money in any. I barely have any money in American accounts. So, but I'm just saying. But it's just interesting. My audience should know that this has to be reported yearly.
This has to be reported.
And if, let's say, for 20 years you never reported it, and now you want to like snitch on yourself,
what happened was a lot of these accounts, they called whistleblowers. They let the United States know that there's a bunch of U.S. citizens that have money in X, Y, and Z account. So the IRS came and said, we're giving you a certain time to, if you disclose that you that you have this money, we will penalize you much less. And it's called voluntary disclosure. Not everybody took advantage of the voluntary disclosure because they didn't know. Imagine you have a grandfather that has an account in a different country. They passed away. You don't know about it. And now the living children now get a letter from the IRS saying there's this account offshore, and the penalties were a lot.
Like how much? A $10 million account, they could get penalized how much? Big money.
Hundreds of thousands. I don't remember exactly.
Even though it wasn't their fault. It was their grandfather's fault.
They didn't know, yeah.
So you said a sad story. This is a sad story?
There was a
You
sad.
have to go penalize
Imagine
people
these
hundreds
poor
of grand.
families.
Poor families with $10 million accounts.
It wasn't always
Sometimes
$10
it's not
million.
10 million. Sometimes it's $1 million or 100,000 or whatever. It's still a
And they became the liable.
yes.
They're on the hook.
They're on the hook. Yeah.
So what do you advise somebody that's grandfather dies, leaves them $2 million in the Cayman Islands, and they want to do a voluntary disclosure? They should do it.
Right now, voluntary disclosure is over, but you always, when it comes to taxes, and you're talking that big money, you want to be talking to CPAs, accountants that know what they're doing.
It's not going away, and you got to work on it.
Yeah.
Which industries get the most audited?
I don't know. A lot of small businesses get audited. A lot.
Do you guys in the IRS office, every time you get someone, you all like high-fiving each other? Oh, you just got this guy. You try to rip off 10, 12. Like, what's the environment in the office? They're all high-fiving each other?
No. Most people are
What's
good
the energy
people.
in the room there?
They're doing their job. They want to close the cases,
They want to finish them.
They want to close the cases.
When you say, oh, I just got this guy, he whipped us off $20 million.
They don't look at it that way. They look at it as almost like someone at the IRS has inventory. They have a bunch of cases. They want to close their cases because they want their manager off their back.
What are some of the biggest, because I want to educate the audience, what are the biggest mistakes that small business owners are making? Easy, simple mistakes that if they're watching the show right now, they can start making little habits to change some mistakes they're going to make to help them with the IRS. Maybe 5 even, as many as you could think of.
Keep your records. Inadequate record keeping. Literally hire a bookkeeping company if you can't do it yourself. But being able to understand how to read a general ledger, a P&L, these things are not small things. You have to be able to look at the P&L, the general ledger, and understand it without getting your accountant to explain it to you. And a lot of times people are like, here's the shoebox, let my accountant deal with it. You got to understand what's on your return.
So you should probably know if you're making money. It's a good idea.
Yeah, even if you're not making money, it's a good idea.
No, I'm saying it's good to know if your business makes money.
Yeah.
You're saying even a small business owner should hire a bookkeeper. Had a profit and loss sheet, have all their invoices, everything should be in order.
Especially if they're not bookkeeping style like me. Like as poor or rich as I ever was, I always found a bookkeeper to run because I'm the worst at it.
But it's not just hiring a bookkeeper. It's hiring a bookkeeper or an accountant that can teach you how to read the statements and teach you how to read the general ledger, the P&L, the balance sheet, you know.
Israel, what's the most
It
arrogant
was
thing?
so a bookkeeper
tips.
knowing how to learn how to read your profit and loss sheet,
Yeah,
keeping receipts, not just dumping things into shoe boxes.
correct.
What else? 3 other mistakes that small business owners are making, or things they could do to make life easier for themselves.
What was the most arrogant thing someone told you while you're doing audit?
Well, I had a lawyer who was representing their client, and I asked a question, and the lawyer started screaming at me, saying how smart his son is. My son is smarter than you, and
That audit it didn't do well for him.
I don't remember. I don't remember. To be honest, a lot of times I understood representatives, taxpayers. It's very scary. Imagine you prepared the tax return, and here comes someone from the IRS, and this same tax preparer or representative tells their client, I'm going to be able to get you out of this. And then they're not able to get it for whatever reason. Maybe they misunderstood. And now they're going to be they have to go to their client and say, I couldn't do it. I couldn't succeed.
I had a CPA doing my wife and I's accounting every year. And one year, in the middle of the year, my wife's company that she worked for, they changed their payroll company. So when they sent her the tax paper, what's it called? The W-2?
Yeah.
So she got the W-2. I got my W-2. We did all the expenses. Any other businesses we did, we gave it to him. He filed. He took his fee. We sent it in. We got a state and federal returns. And then a few months later, we get a few $1,000 bill from the IRS because the payroll company that changed the middle of the year didn't send us that W-2. And the IRS right away picked up on it based on the social or whatever. And they sent us, let's say, a $7,000, $8,000 bill plus, and I remember it being high tax penalty and like 8, 9, 10%, whatever. And this was a very competent CPA, and he was not. He's like, yeah, I didn't have that paper. I said, what should I do? He says, you should pay the bill quickly. He's like, just pay the bill and move on. Like the IRS is asking for money, just shove it at them. So that guy got arrogant, but really he should have just sat down, figured it out, and came to a number. You're not going to win. I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen someone completely ruin their life from taxes problems?
So one of the reasons why I do what I do, why I left the IRS, is because I see what it does to the average person. You're getting audited. You now owe a lot of money. And sometimes these things are could be open for 2-3 years if you don't have adequate, good representation. And I've seen good representation, and I've seen not so good people not representing their clients properly. And I see what it does to a lot of people, what it does to their lives. You can imagine it ruins their marriage. You can imagine if you're a parent, the anxiety that the kids are living with. So it's very stressful. I believe most people that get audited, whether they're aware or not aware, or they're with the IRS, they're being affected negatively. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I left the IRS, because I believe I can do it much quicker than the average representative and get better results. And the main thing is the client, the taxpayer, to get on with their life.
Is IRS political?
Not within not with the regular people working there. The people that are in Washington, D.C., you can make a case they are.
And how does that play out?
Well, I wouldn't use the word political. They have agendas. They'll come out of nowhere and say, all right, we're now going to be auditing companies that are in their final year. You're able to put final year on your, if you're a business.
What does that mean, final year?
If you know it's your final year, you have to disclose that it's your final year.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a lot of tax.
If a company is going out of business after 53 years, let's say Macy's decides to close
selling?
down, they have to write down that it's their final year?
Within the there's certain tax. Yeah.
Why?
There's
private. I don't want anybody to know.
Because there's certain things that have to happen with their assets.
Oh.
Certain things get taxed from their balance sheet. And, but I'm just giving that as an example. So they'll say, we're auditing these returns. So out of nowhere, you have a big caseload. And the people that are from the top now say we have to work these cases, and it goes down to the manager, and then it goes down to the employees. And now we're told after We were told 3 months before to work partnership returns and to work shareholders. Now we have to add this as well. So there's a lot of bureaucracy. So I call it more bureaucracy than I would call political. Most people are not political in that aspect.
How aggressive are they, would you say, from when you started until you left?
What do you mean by aggressive?
Like chasing, hunting, witch hunting?
Well, CI, which is criminal investigations, which I didn't work for, is aggressive. They're aggressive in the sense if you're audited to follow the laws or to follow the procedures. And that if you're getting audited, you're getting a bank deposit analysis. If you have a business, you're going to be looking at your bank account. So if you say aggressive in that aspect, it's aggressive. And if you're putting in an appeal or going in a tax petition, they're aggressive in keeping the tax law or the tax law, the court law. I'm getting confused right now. There's tax law, case law, and then there's the tax law.
Didn't Trump fire a bunch of IRS agents? Was that recent, a year ago?
That was about a little over a year ago. Not too many got fired. A lot retired.
He encouraged retirement.
Yeah, a lot of people left.
Does that mean it's a better time to commit fraud, or
no?
So what does it mean practically?
Well,
or had software take over a lot?
It's never a good time to commit fraud because if you commit fraud and you get caught, it's not pleasant. Even if you don't get caught, even if you're audited for potential fraud and you did nothing wrong, it's not pleasant. Let me just say this, because I know that question was a joke in a way. But when it comes to taxes and it comes to money and it comes to business, it's really not worth it. Do things kosher. Do things legal. I want to say a story. I had a friend that came to me when I first was working at the IRS. He's like, Israel, if I just add these expenses on my return, I'll get back more money. What do you think? And I said, what I think is you'll put in more expenses. You'll get a bigger refund. 3 years from now, after you bought the TV or after you paid for your kids' tuition, you'll get audited. And not just will you pay the money that you have to pay back, you'll also pay interest and penalties, let alone the stress of not being honest and the stress of being audited and what that does to somebody. It's like having a clean room. You have a clean room, you're more at peace. You want to be ethical.
What happens internally if an agent messes up? What's the repercussions?
Ooh, depends what you mean by messing up.
If, let's say, you audit somebody and when you finish doing the audit, you sign off on it and say he owed, let's say, $12,000 and we did this in this balance sheet and he paid $11,000. At some point, the case is closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that guy now goes to sleep at night. He's starting fresh. The IRS cleared him. He gets like a letter that he's pardoned, like jury duty. You get a letter of release. You're done. You come back to your office, you file the case, and your supervisor in the IRS says, by the way, you made a major mess up. This guy owes another $22,000. Could you reopen the case and say, hey, we want to now get $22,000? Or because you already said, oh, you're off the hook, and you made a mistake internally with the paperwork?
So when it comes to something like that, let's say I audited somebody or there was an appeals case, and let's say I made a mistake. By the way, I've worked thousands of cases. I don't think I made one mistake.
Wow.
By the way, when I say that,
I'm just saying.
Statistically, we make mistakes. We're human beings. Okay,
but you don't.
But I don't.
You're not human.
But what happens is the manager has to sign off on the case. If the manager notices that Israel forgot something or made an error, she or he will give the case back to me or back to the agent to now go back to the taxpayer and say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Oh, so it's not forgiven because you made a mistake. You make a mistake, you have to go back to the customer and say, we made a mistake. There's more money owed.
Well, what happens is first thing first, whenever I were to do an audit, I always would let them know subject to manager review. And a manager can look at a case and just say, you didn't look at this issue. I feel like you should have looked at this issue. Go back to the taxpayer. And then I'd have to listen to my supervisor. but that doesn't mean I made a mistake. It's just part of she's doing her checks and balances. And yeah.
So far, the thing that I'm the most intrigued about, which is so simple, but I didn't realize, is that let's say you could do a maximum amount of deductions for certain things. People write the zero amount. So if it's 10,000, they write exactly 10,000, which flags, because usually when you pay up your 12-month expenses on your car or truck, the bill might come out to be $9,326.14, just the way the numbers are. So you right away know the guy's just playing games and seeing what the maximum amount is and doing that. So that subjects to an audit. What other things that a small business account does that will trigger major alarms besides the numbers all being the maximum?
Yeah, how do you lower your audit risk?
Yeah, what other things are very popular that cause alarms?
Well, let me just go back to the round numbers. Sometimes the person's not doing anything wrong. They lost their records and they're just estimating expenses. And that's what they're doing. It's not always that the person is trying to do something wrong. They just don't have their records, so they put round numbers. So when it comes to a lot of other things, income is a big one. You want to make sure that you account for all income. You want to make sure you account for it all. Another thing when it comes to the balance sheet, there's a lot of times there's something called loans from shareholders or loans to shareholders. So a lot of times within these loans, there can be a mix-up that there's loans to the shareholder, which is the partner or the business owner, and sometimes they're taking those loans and they're not paying the loans back.
And loans are tax-free, so it would be, right?
Well, they have to pay it back.
Right, but theoretically, a loan is not income.
Yeah. Imagine you start your own business. You're putting your own money into your business, so it's loans to shareholders. There's also loans from shareholders.
How crazy are people supposed to be? Let's talk the letter of the law. A guy got for a bar mitzvah gift from his uncle. Robert gave him $5 silver for his bar mitzvah gift. He gave him $5 silver. At the time, silver was $1.23 an ounce. And silver hits $130. He takes the 5 silver coins, runs to the diamond district last week. Now it's back to like 70. But he runs and they take whatever bullion, whatever the number is, they round it off. I heard they're paying a lot less now. The refineries are backed up. They give him $98.25 an ounce. So he gets $500. The guy takes out from the register $500, gives him $500. He just made $500 because he got it when it was worth $0. He's supposed to fill out a form in his tax return that says, I got $500 on November 16th. I got $500. And then he's supposed to declare it and see what the tax rate is and pay the full tax. That's the letter of the law, correct?
So it's not an easy thing for me to answer because I would imagine there are certain laws and rules regarding what's it, like the silver store? What's it called?
Bullion?
These places that they themselves have to fill out a form, not
ask for ID and fill out a form?
If it's a certain amount of money. I'm sure it's similar to casinos. You make a certain amount you coming in. If it's more than 10,000, I don't know what the law is. They have to give you a form and then you have to file that on your tax return. So I'm sure it's pretty similar to that as well. So when it comes to something like that, technically you're supposed to report that as income, right? But if you didn't get anything from the place that gives you the money, and I'm sure, I'm not familiar with the laws, but I'm pretty sure they have to fill out something if it's more than 500 or more than 5,000. I'm sure there's some listeners know this. I don't. But the IRS will know in that case. You ever go to the horse betting, horse racing? If people, a lot of times, the horse wins, they win a lot of money, and then they give them a paper showing them the $5,000 or $10,000 that they won. And now they have to report that.
You're familiar with the Cash App Zelle rules now or no?
No.
Okay. I know they changed it recently to lower to higher. If someone knows, please comment below.
Somebody told me that it used to be that if you gave somebody over, I think $600, you had to fill out a form that you gave them. Like it was at the 1090. It was a 10. You had to fill out it.
Trump changed it.
I recently Googled it for somebody. I think it went up to 2026. I think it's going to like $2,100. You have to report, I think, over $2,100, and it would make no difference. Whatever the minimal reporting is, no matter how it is, cash, Zelle, Cash App. The law is you have to give somebody a certain amount, then you have to have them fill out the W-2 or whatever the paperwork is. You have to fill it out. Because it's subject, that would be, the law would be subject to reporting.
What is it, 500 now? What's the law?
I think it's going up in 2026 to like $2,000 or something.
2,000.
Do religious communities tend to be more tax compliant or less compliant?
I wouldn't have the statistics on that. But a lot of times within the religious community, a lot of times they're flagged because They make X, Y, and Z. They have 5 to 7 kids. And a lot of times that by itself is like, how are you living? So the computers sometimes pick that up as there has to be more income here. So that happens often. But that's nobody going after anybody. It's the computers.
What are some of the task risks about cash-heavy businesses? Like jewelry or, I don't know, barbershop or...
Barbershop to jewelry.
Yeah, the old cash, right?
Well, these days, most people are accepting credit card.
Right.
That's what I would say.
There's a famous store that doesn't accept a famous food establishment in Brooklyn. I don't want to get any more specific. Till today, the only thing they will take is cash.
Okay.
So annoying. Like, you have to double park and run to an ATM machine, and it's like, whatever. And I always wondered, like, if they're doing it to try to save money on taxes, if I worked for the IRS, that's the first store I would audit. Why would somebody only take cash? It makes no sense to me.
Well,
They don't want to pay the fees.
What fees?
Credit card charge 3-4%.
So a lot of stores charge the 3%.
I'm not sure legally how to charge.
Everybody does. It's 100% legal.
I'm not
Everybody
sure
charges 3%.
Below if it's legal or not.
Everybody charges the 3% fee.
So if you're a cash heavy,
but let me answer that question, because that's a good one. A lot of times there are people that own their business. They're 70, 80 years old. They don't want to accept the credit card machines. They're annoyed by it, and they say just cash.
You just go tap today. It's so easy.
But also, when it comes to industries that with cash, the IRS, the government has the statistics on what the income should be. If, for instance, if you're a fruit store, the odds are you're making income of 0. When I say food store, restaurant, one of the toughest business to make money in. The statistics show you're not making too much money. But there are certain businesses, the gross receipts, the money coming into cost of goods sold is a certain percentage. The materials, cost of goods sold are the materials that are for the goods. And if the cost of goods sold is very high and the income is very low, that would trigger something. That would trigger an audit. That would trigger a question mark. And from there, they could go after them.
Clappy, you want to talk about sponsors?
Oh, of course. The most favorite part of our show. We have some breaking news. Today we have 2 top corporate sponsors that are joining the Clappy and Frank show as advertising sponsors. The first one is A1 Party Rentals. It's a top party rental company.
So if you want to look as good
when you put into Google corporate sponsored parties, table rentals, chairs, high end. I mean, they build buildings, like glass buildings, for events that are taking place over a couple day period in cold climates. They build all the kosher Pesach stores. They put the tents up, hundreds of square feet. The building in front of 770, the whole Tishrei, 300 feet by 20 feet or 25 feet. So A1 Party Rentals. I'm going to link the number below.
Mention us.
They did the White House the night before the inaugural event. They did the whole baseball thing and Freedom, whatever it was, that major event the White House called them. Pictures of the tractor trailers heading over to D.C. It was crazy. They were the only one that had the materials the White House needed. A1 Party
Mention
Rental.
Clappy and Frank for.
Mention them, I'm sure, for amazing prices. And great. They always give good customer service, but even better. And the legendary Schmerling Switzerland chocolates.
Here we go.
Schmerling chocolates. The Rebbe used to eat Schmerling chocolate. Everybody knows. Yeah. The Rebbe, and the Rebbe the whole year. Every day. Now, the minor chocolate. What I love about the minor chocolates, everybody's eating this. It's not only minors. The adults love the minor chocolates. The minor chocolates are great for the shalach manas. Also, when your 3-year-old says he wants a chocolate bar, you don't want him eating an entire chocolate bar.
Portion control.
Over here, you get the entire bar in one serving. Delicious chocolate. Troy, I want you to taste this chocolate, and you're gonna have to report income on $1.79
that you were gifted on the Clappy and Frank show.
I grew up with these chocolates.
Oh, there you go.
You can never get bored of these chocolates. Schmerling, oh my God.
And Clappy, as newly minted gym rats, portion control. You don't eat the whole bar.
Portion control.
It's only 130 calories. Perfect for shalach manas.
Oh, these go perfect in shalach manas. Is also a lot of people that give their friends a shalach manas, like a negelvasa shissel or a Shabbos urn or a sheitel head or whatever.
Fill it up.
But you still need to do the mitzvah. So you do is you buy a minor, 2 of them, you tape it to the box together with a hamantash, and you have the 2 mitzvahs of shalach manas. These minors come in so handy. Sneak them into your jackets while you're davening. Easy, nobody looks. It's very good. The minor chocolates, they're known. The Schmerlings,
Top
kosher
quality.
Pesach. Is this one kosher Pesach?
I think they're always
Kosher Pesach.
all year round.
Whatever's left over from Shalach Manis, you eat on Pesach.
Yes.
And the Rebbe's, the base Harav, the Lubavitch Rebbe ate Schmerling chocolate, so you don't get it better than that. And then we got
Butcher.
the CH Butcher restaurant on Troy and their deli on Albany Avenue in Brooklyn. Now they all have a full line of meat product takeouts where all quality frozen foods are sold. Here we have the Lahama Bajanim.
Last week we tipped the parking lot agent. The empanada, he was so happy.
I loved it. He loved it.
He was happier than he got cash. I was like, I felt bad. I had no cash on me. You know, I want to make sure I'm all legal, so I'd never carry cash. And felt bad, you know. I said, "Oh, here's a little empanada from the show." He's like, "What? Beef? Really? Is there beef in here?" Like, yeah, there's beef in here.
Raskin's classic tuna. Their classic tuna I buy for Shabbos because Sunday morning we have it with bagels. My wife goes shopping at Raskin's every Friday. We have the jalapeno schmaltz herring today.
Jalapeno.
We have the Danish style herring and cream sauce, and we brought the schmaltzy salmon with the onions. And then the only place in the world that makes a herring kichel exclusively to eat with herring is Raskin's. This was not gifted. I paid for everything. I don't want to get audited. No.
I got a lot of auditing
the
comments like this.
What?
Said I would get a lot of auditing comments like this for you.
You said you're not a big herring guy, but I want you to give you a
Slowly, Israel.
Israel, I want you to taste the tuna. I could see the scallions.
Israel, I know you married Syrian. Have your taste buds changed since you married into the Syrians?
Definitely. Delicious food.
Yeah?
Delicious food.
Kubet, what's the Syrians eat?
Kibbeh, maz, they eat a lot of lamb.
A lot of lamb.
Yeah.
Maishi, make a bracha.
Israel, what's the biggest difference between Syrians and Chabad people? Top three.
You went top three.
Top three different, like major, like eye openers, like, huh?
Troy, you're the second person in your family to marry Syrian. Your sister Shoshana also married David Cameo. David Cameo, when he coming on the show, tell us about the rich Syrians.
I think it's different. Different, like Chabad is more lively, livid. Syrians are more analytical, you know. But
oh my God,
more analytical.
Moshe, you ever tasted this?
Yeah,
that's
very good.
But they're all good. They're good people. I mean, good people are everywhere. It's like,
do you have to drive
a
Mercedes to be a luxury car to be Syrian, or is it mandatory, or they let you in shul with that? What's the deal?
No, they don't let you in the show without a fancy car.
I have a Nissan Sentra.
You have a Nissan Sentra.
Oh my God!
You always had it?
Wheels to Lease. My friend Saul and Izzy from
Sentra.
Wheels to Lease, corporate sponsor.
Nissan Sentra. What do you say about Nissan Sentra?
We just got off the phone on the way to the show with Saul. He said last week I said for $200 you could get into a Nissan Sentra. A month. Now he tells me, Izzy, you could tell your customers at Wheels to Lease a Nissan Sentra under $200 a month.
Wow.
Under $200 a month.
When are they going to pay you to drive a Nissan Sentra?
The pricing is so crazy. It's the only thing affordable. It's the only thing that went down in price since Mamdani got into office. The Nissan Sentra. The roads are not shoveled, but if you have a place to put a car, you could have a Sentra.
You recommend a Nissan Sentra on the snow?
I don't know. I'm used to going in Escalades lately. But Nissan Sentra, and I asked him what other good deals. He says that the Honda Odyssey is the cheapest he's seen in years. And this is what he told me. Don't wait till Pesach comes and your car is so dirty and you want to get rid of it. Instead of cleaning your car for Pesach, get a new car for Pesach. And by the way, when you call Wheels to Lease, you call Saul or Izzy, the car is in your driveway within a few hours. There's no waiting around.
Some people tell me that they only want a car just for the summer. Do you think they should rent, or they should just have a car all year round?
I think for $200 a month, just keep it around whenever you have it, an extra car.
Right. Where are you going to park it?
Wheels to Lease. It's the only way to go is Wheels to Lease. Anyhow, so you're saying keep a clean book. Let me ask you a question, Izzy. When the IRS comes after you, at the end of the day, are they looking to throw you in jail, or they're just looking for you to pay your bill and move on with life?
No, they're not looking to throw you in jail. Only if you don't report income. a lot of income. Because jail is criminal investigation. They usually only go after people in terms of jail-wise that didn't report. I don't know what the amount is,
But it's
a
in the
lot,
millions.
probably.
A guy making $200,000 a year, he sends in his tax return every year, he's off by a few thousand, he gets audited. You're saying get a preparer, sit down at the table, pay a few $1,000, move on with life. They're not arresting you, they're not putting you in jail. Just
It depends.
do tshuva. You're saying you could.
Yeah.
Are there times where you cross a certain line, even if it's a small amount, and that's where they go criminal on you? Or
No, it has to be a lot, and you have to show intent to not report.
nobody ever has intent.
Well,
God forbid not pay
Yeah,
taxes.
so you have to prove you didn't have the intent, and a lot of times you can prove it. Yeah.
What are common mistakes people make about deducting for charitable donations?
That sometimes it's not a charitable organization that they're donating the money to.
What
It's
do you
not a
mean?
501c3. Is that what it's called? It's and they give money to an organization that is not a charitable organization, and they can't deduct that. Sometimes people go, I gave my
nephew
friend
$100 to go outside.
who's struggling financially. I gave them money. You can't deduct that. It has to be a charitable organization.
You should give the money to a 501c3 to then give it to that guy. That would be a better idea, no?
If you can, yeah.
Have you seen non-for-profits abusing their status?
I've seen that.
What's
But I
it-
didn't do non-for-profits, but I've seen it. I've seen that, yeah.
What are common mistakes landlords make with taxes?
Can you be specific?
They have 3 tenants in their house, a basement, a first floor, a second floor, and they just live on the top floor. They charge all their tenants $2,000 a month. They're bringing in $6,000 a month. So what does that tend to be, like $80,000 a year in taxes? What's the proper way for them to report the $80,000, and what's the not proper way for them to report the $80,000?
So I have a challenge. I started eating this stuff, and now the food's in my mouth. Okay. So when it comes to rental properties, that could be very, very gray. And you're saying a little area. A lot of times with rental properties, it can get very complex, the tax law. And there you would want to get real advice on what you should do and how to report. So when it comes to like a simple landlord, maybe they don't understand, or simple property owner, maybe they're not depreciating their property properly. And I've seen cases where they charge less. If you're not charging, you can't. You have to charge fair market value. If rent goes for $3,000 in Crown Heights for a 1-bedroom, and you're charging $1,500 because it's your cousin or nephew, you can't then deduct the loss. You're not allowed to deduct the loss. It has to be fair market value. There's a lot of laws regarding rental property if no one's living in it, and it's very important to know what you're doing. Here again, we want to go know what you're doing, hire an accountant, speak to people in shul, so to speak, that know this stuff. If you can't afford an accountant, to make sure you're doing things correctly.
If someone's been messing around for the past, let's say 5 years, and they hear this show and they want to do tshuva, how do they go about it? What's the steps they take?
Tshuva. What do you mean by tshuva?
They want to start.
So I come
Playing the
across
right
people
game.
like that all the time. And a lot of times it's very similar to somebody that wants to eat healthy. They say they want to eat healthy, and a month later, a year later, it's the same complaint. And usually what happens is by the time they want to make so-called tshuva, that's when the IRS is after them, or that's when they have to file bankruptcy. That's when their business collapses because they weren't on top of their books and records. So first thing first, get your books in order. Get everything in order. If you can't do it, hire the right bookkeeper / accountant. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. And from there, have the accountant. If you have issues with the IRS, come to me. I'm going to do a whole investigation. I'm going to look at your history. I'm going to see where you owe money, where potentially your accounts could be levied, where maybe we can get rid of some penalties, penalty abatement. Come to me. If you're having issues already with the IRS, come to somebody like me who will work the case and will work it much quicker than the average person and get the best results as possible.
You're going to tell them the real honest truth, as is. No filters.
No, everything is truth.
You don't seem like a filter guy.
No. Everything you got to deal with reality here. It's very similar. Somebody's coming to the dentist and now they have to get their tooth extracted. The dentist is not going to try to make it sound nice. Here's what's happening. You need an implant and it's going to be hell, and here are the 3 appointments and here's what it's going to feel like. So when you're already in this situation, you need the truth, but you want to deal with it in the quickest, best, efficient way as possible. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Does it respond?
What are we talking about? A guy like you, because you have 17 years of working for the IRS, you know all the secrets. You're going to get them out of their pain and misery really quickly. And chick-chock, you're charging $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour. You take on a case, no matter how long it takes.
I charge what the competitive rates are. I don't go higher than the competitive rates for tax resolution.
What does it look like?
It depends.
Call him for rates.
Call for rates.
Call for rates. It depends.
Does response, everyone does this. Does the IRS buy that response? If someone says, "Oh, why are you doing this?" He's like, "Oh, everyone does it." Does that fly at all in the IRS?
Yeah, that works very well. I've gotten a lot of those.
Doesn't everybody do that?
I've gotten a lot of those. No, that doesn't fly. It's very clear in terms of what is the law is, what is an ordinary and what is ordinary and necessary for the average business? What are they supposed to do according to the Internal Revenue Code 162? They have to keep records. It's the law. If you say, I know a friend that doesn't keep records, everyone doesn't fly. Where's your records? They have it a lot with, like I said, earned income credit. My friends, they claim their nieces and nephews and their brothers and sisters. Why can't I? They all do it because you're not allowed to unless you're following the law.
If they ask you to speak in Shul on Shabbos, what would you tell the community about taxes? What would be your statement to them?
I got to be honest. I hate talking about taxes on Shabbat. I was Ashkenaz. I used to say Shabbos.
You switch.
Now I say Shabbat, and sometimes I say Shabbat. It's a mixture of it all. I have everything in me right now.
Who do you prefer, the Chabad or the Syrians?
I love everybody.
Love everybody?
Everybody.
Especially if there's clients.
There's a different...
No preference?
There isn't. Everyone has their own uniqueness. I know the Syrian community, sometimes it gets a bad rap.
For what?
Like sometimes Chabad gets a bad rap.
What do Syrians get bad raps usually for?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, it's like stereotypes.
What's the stereotype?
Being rich, being arrogant, flexing, going to deal, buying $10 million homes, the usual stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and people Chabad can be
saying Rabbi Mansouri is the only rabbi in the world.
Mansour.
But
Mansour. I don't even know the guy's name.
But he's
a great
my
speaker.
point is that there's the Jewish people in general. As I'm getting older, I'm in my 40s now. The black and white way of thinking is gone. Remember, in kids, misnagdim are bad. It's like
Misnagdim
no.
are not bad.
When we were kids. We would fight with them in the camp when we went on the same trips. The reality is that everybody is good. There is like an Am Yisrael Chai type thing. And plenty of Syrian Jews out there, they would take their shirt off their back to help another Jew. And that doesn't matter if they're Chabad or Lipfish or anything. And I think it's as I'm getting older, maybe it could be I'm older, or maybe it could just be with the times, there's a certain unity. And there's good with everybody. And there's rotten apples on trees everywhere. That doesn't make anybody or any group bad or not bad.
Could you claim mental health or illness with the IRS? How much weight does it have, or how does that work?
Well, you could claim it if you're able to prove it in a sense of why you didn't file your tax returns and why you shouldn't be penalized for not filing on time and for not paying on time. So you could, if you're able to prove that there's a real mental health issue or a real health issue, But you got to be able to prove it in a sense. You can't say I have a health issue, but I was paying my light bill, but not paying the IRS. You would also have to show I wasn't even paying my light bill.
People should stop paying all their bills.
Is ADD considered?
I don't pay any bills.
Is ADHD considered a mental illness with IRS? I know.
But like I said, if they have ADHD and they're paying their light bill, but not
Paying a light bill is more simple. Click pay than filing taxes and figuring your
that's how they look at it.
It's very
if you're able to
complicated.
pay with your ADHD, your leased vehicle payment, and your insurance payment, you could pay the IRS as well. So it's not impacting your capabilities or your capacity to function in life. So the same is true. The IRS will look at it in that way as well.
So it doesn't. You're saying
he's trying to say there's a
It's
mental health issue going on and everybody could claim in something.
yes. Do you think everyone has mental illness?
What?
Do you think everyone has mental illness?
Everyone has challenges with it. Isn't the whole Tanya on that? The nefesh Bahamas, the nefesh Elokis, the godly soul, the animalistic soul. And when the animalistic soul takes control and the godly soul is
the
concealed.
animalistic soul doesn't want to pay taxes, and the godly soul wants to pay the IRS all their money. They want to give them everything.
He's asking.
Israel, when you joined the SY
questions.
community, did they welcome? What was the welcome package like? I'm saying, like, who's this Chabad guy intruding, or what's? Isn't it very tight knit?
I only had good, beautiful
They
experiences.
let him in. They wanted an insider from the IRS.
I only had beautiful experiences with not just with the SI community, SY community, but with most communities. I only have. You attract what's inside. If you think everybody is bad, then you're gonna see it everywhere. It's yeah.
Wow.
Powerful stuff. Powerful. Good
What's
tax.
worse?
Yeah.
To be ignorant for the IRS or being in malicious? Does it make a difference?
Malicious is worse.
Intentional avoidance.
Oh, that's worse. Yeah.
So if you claim you're messy, you don't know what you're doing, then
Yeah. It's different. The intent is can get you in prison, or if not in prison, will give you a fraud penalty, and a lot of penalties if you're saying that I didn't know, or my accountant did it for me. You can potentially, depending on the situation, get out of some penalties.
Like you 1 or 2 bites as you're eating chocolate the whole time. You're not saving any for anybody. The chocolates are so good, you just can't stop. The Schmerling chocolates are crazy. So good.
when you're let's say you're helping a friend, you're giving him some money, lending him money, giving him money. At what point do you have to start 1090? Like, how does that work? You just give him money, like
So you're talking about
a friend calls you, oh, I need some money, I need help paying the rent, blah blah blah. So he's not a non-for-profit, right?
right. So that we're talking about that potentially a complex tax issue. So if you're, let's say, a business and you're lending money, let's use a business. You as a person, you're lending money as a business. So there are certain laws you have to call business bad debt expense, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. You have to follow certain guidelines, right? So if this person lends money, let's say I lend you money and I need the money back and you're not paying me back. So legally what I have to do is just like a business, I have to send you letters saying, almost like collection letters, you owe me the money, please respond. If you don't do it, as time goes on, then you could potentially claim a loss if it's done in that aspect. But if I lend you money and it's just one friend to another friend and you don't pay me back, for the most part, there's nothing you could do.
Since you have to really send the guy debt collection letters, like you're running it like a
and you
business.
have to have a real loan agreement and everything.
Oh my God, we almost forgot the 500-pound elephant in the room. Everybody jokes around about this. Oh, I could swipe my credit card. It's a business expense. I could pay for dinner. It's a business. You want to buy a new MacBook? $8,000 with 50 gigabytes of RAM and terabytes and hard drive. I don't even know this stuff. Business expense. What's a real business expense? What's not a business expense? What's realistic? Because everybody's talking about now, like, oh, before I file for last year, let me see, all these things are business expenses.
So
How about this? Could you go to, if you only needed a $1,100 MacBook for your business, could you go and say, I'm going to get a $5,000 MacBook with every add-on, with Apple Care, which I would never pay if it was out of my pocket, and say, oh, it's a business expense.
If you're using it for business.
You're using it, but you need a $200 computer from
Now,
Costco.
let me ask you, how smart is that you, the business owner, that's spending, instead of a $500 computer, you're spending a $5,000 computer, so you could save a few bucks on taxes, but you're really spending $4,000 extra on the computer.
Just the terms I hear people saying about it's a business expense. It's a business.
Also,
it's an overused. It's an overused.
Me and
term.
Israel are content creators. We could really say everything is we're making a wedding, and you document the whole wedding. It's like it's all business expense. It's all content. So where do you draw the line?
Okay, so let's go through that.
So we're influencers.
It has to be an ordinary and necessary business expense for the industry that you're in. So you, in your industry, let's say you're going to a wedding and you're actually going to take videos there, right? You can make the case that it's a business expense.
You needed the plane ticket. You needed the Uber to get to the plane. No, I'm saying that's a business expense.
As an influencer, you're basically a news company.
Right.
A news company, just like a news company flies to, to Iran.
But you also have to follow certain laws, rules. You have to have good record keeping. Who did you meet with when you flew to, you going to your friend's wedding, or you're actually going there for content creation? That's where you would need
this
to
guy's
speak.
pulling out his phone, documenting anybody in the world. It's always content creation.
Is it the question you would have to ask your accountant? Is this an ordinary and necessary expense? Is it? And you can make a case, yes.
If I go skiing with my kids and I document the whole thing.
No, that's different.
But it's content.
Well, you certainly can't deduct your wife's plane ticket, your kid's plane ticket, the hotel ticket, because there's a certain recreation there. Again, you would want to speak. You would want to speak to your accountant, and hopefully they're well versed in your industry. However, someone has a business, and they're going with their wife and kids to a restaurant, and they go, "Yeah, this is a business expense." No, it's not. They're taking all their Amazon receipts and going to business. No, it's not. Your situation is gray. It's a gray situation. It's different than what many people do, where they're just going business expense, business expense, business expense.
And then they would have $10,000 even number.
I would look at I remember looking at the general ledger, and you see Costco, Wegmans. It could be that they're going to Wegmans to buy food for their business every day. A ShopRite. It could be, and also there's certain, like I said, record keeping laws.
Office pantries is deductible. If you're feeding all your employees, is that considered you're familiar with that?
I'm not 100% familiar. It's certainly deductible. I don't remember the exact laws around it, but you could look it up on Google. Yeah. Certainly, there is deduction for that. Yes.
Did anyone ever punch you in the face as an IRS agent when you were auditing them?
No.
Did they ever smack you, kick you?
Never.
Curse you out?
Curse me out, yeah.
Did they say you dirty Jew IRS?
No.
They ever did play the race card?
No, never.
Never.
I have had people scream at me about Barney Frank getting away with taxes. Why is he not sitting here? And talking about how unfair it is. And I've had a lot of that. But usually people are, for the most part, civil, and there are people that are very emotional, and you learn to handle it, Like I said, it's a very scary thing to be dealing with the IRS. People don't realize how scary it is until they go through it. Your life is upside down. All your childhood traumas come up in that thing, and your whole life can be turned upside down. And you deal with a lot of people with fears, with a lot of big, heavy emotions. And my heart always went out for them because, my God, their lives are upside down.
With audit.
With the audit, it's open for 3 years. There's anxiety. The wife is unhappy or the husband's unhappy, and...
Have you seen people get divorced over these audits?
I've heard stories. I mean, I don't see the divorce ceremony in the audit, but yeah. But
from people you visited, it's suddenly the end up.
I know people personally that come talk to me from the Jewish community. They come to me over the years, and their lives are upside down. Their marriage is not good. Their kids, they're stressed out.
Because of the audits.
Yeah, it could be very scary. It can be very, very scary.
So I think my takeaway is IRS is pretty reasonable. They're not looking to go after everybody. If your numbers are totally off and doesn't make sense, if you're a barbershop and you're driving a Rolls Royce, it's probably not deductible, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you're running a private wealth management firm in the Hamptons, you're driving a Rolls Royce, it makes more sense, right?
Yes.
So if things are totally out of whack, they probably don't make sense, and the IRS will be concerned and will go after you.
Takeaway is pay your taxes, make the deductions be half normal, and any time you're being audited or you have major problems with the IRS, you call my buddy Israel Ostrov. He knows the tricks. He'll calm you down. He'll say, you know what? Instead of having anxiety and fear, just pay me. I'll take care of it all. Or I'll represent you. We'll get a number. You'll write out a check or whatever it is.
17-year veteran.
So that's it.
Do you get a pension? Hold on.
You
Israel.
think they pay you, they don't have to have the stress. You just take care of it and it's over.
Israel, what's the pension thing?
I'm getting two different questions at me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You get a good pension after
I left. It would have served me better to stay at the IRS
for 20 or 25 years?
For the 25 until retirement age in terms of pension. My pension's not that good because I left early. Like I said, the reason why I left the IRS is to help people. I just want to say that when it comes to representing people that are dealing with this, because I've seen a lot of representatives, sometimes the best representatives were the ones that had no letters to their name. And sometimes the worst were the ones that had ESQ or CPA. That doesn't mean all were bad. I'm just saying, when it comes to someone representing you, do you want the case open for 3 years? Or do you want a representative that's proactive, that understands what the IRS is looking for, and that instead of this case being open for 2-3 years, it will be open a quarter of that amount of time, or half, depends on the situation. And my takeaway to you is, if you're dealing with the IRS, you want somebody that's going to give you good results, and you want to get back to your life. Now, I don't know which one of you asked the question. If you're being audited by the IRS, what you should look for, you want to make sure that this thing is not open for 3 years.
What does that mean, open for 3 years?
The case is open. They're open.
Sometimes it's audited. After the audit, it can sometimes be open for a year plus, and then you file an appeal, and then by the time it gets to the appeals officer's desk and it gets resolved, it's already 3 years later, and let alone the headache of everything.
So when you get involved, it's
quicker, as efficient as possible, and to get the best results.
What do you miss the most about Crown Heights, living in the Syrian town for all this time?
I live in New Jersey. Just go straight. I live with Ashkenaz, Syrians, all mixture of people.
What do you miss the most about Crown Heights? Or nothing?
I don't know. When I go to Crown Heights now, there's more establishments. I think what I miss most about Crown Heights are the people, the friends. I have good cousins there. I have aunt and uncle there. My parents are there. There's old teachers. When I was younger, there wasn't an appreciation for all the connections I've had. And now that I'm like in my 40s, low 40s, there is an appreciation for all of the contacts I've had when I was younger. So whenever I go to Crown Heights, it's like feeding the soul of seeing all the cousins I've taken for granted. Because they're young, you take everything for granted. My parents are still alive, so it's a blessing to see them. My aunt and uncle, it's a blessing to see them and to see friends. So I miss that. One thing about Crown Heights, the connection, the livelihood, which can be viewed it can be viewed from the outside as chaotic, right? Mm-hmm. But there's something very beautiful about it when you're not in it. When you're not in it, and you're away from Crown Heights, and you're not in that so-called chaos, which, by the way, I don't think is chaos, there's an appreciation for it. Mm.
Thank you very much, Israel, for your time.
Thank you so much for coming. Again, we're going to have his information, how to reach out to Israel for all your issues with the IRS or preemptive, resolving your taxes and your bookkeeping. You're going to reach out to Israel, and he's going to take care of you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Pay your taxes, keep organized, and you won't have to use Israel.
You want him as a consultant.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.